This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize the headlines that you may have missed this morning, but you also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 22nd of February 2022, and I am Serbia.
I am Miss Pope.
And I am your host, GK. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. The Daily Nation, the indecisive kingmaker. The Standard, Sagana talks turning point for Raila and Ruto. The Star, Uhuru plan to drive Ruto out of Central. And finally, the People Daily, crunch time as parties prepare to crown Raila. So why don't we kick off with what we have to say?
There comes a time when a nation is more important than an individual. These are the words Professor George Saitoti uttered in the KANU National Delegates Conference in Kasarani in 2002. At a time when grown men could even kneel before Moi,
True.
Saitoti did the unthinkable by just firing this subliminal salvo. This was in response to Moi, who had just humiliated him in front of everybody by telling him to his face that he was not presidential material. Nevertheless, Saitoti's words will shape the 2002 election, an election where Kenyans chose country over Moi. This goes to show that NDCs have played an important role in shaping politics. The significance of the repealed Section 2A cannot be understated either. The constitutional amendment that made Kenya a de jure one-party state happened as a result of a directive by Moi during the December 1991 KANU NDC. Therefore, NDCs have birthed moments which have significantly shifted Kenya's political landscape, and we shouldn't expect anything different from the Jubilee NDC this coming Friday and Saturday. So, what is likely to happen at the NDCs this Friday?
Tell us.
But perhaps a more pressing question is this. Is the UDA brigade going to be in attendance? Remember, most UDA MPs are still very much Jubilee MPs since they have not yet resigned from the party.
That's true.
Actually, Kawanjiko is the party leader at UDA and Raila is Ruto's candidate in Jubilee. But if they are still debating on whether to attend, I would like to tell them that it is in their best interest that they show up. This is because the only fate that awaits them at the UDA nominations are premium tiers.
You said that.
And this has been said as much by the likes of Kabogo, Dongo Gethenji, and Murade. They accused Ruto of rigging out several Jubilee candidates in the 2017 Jubilee nominations and replacing them with stooges and demagogues. And even now, we see some of his key generals leaving and opting to run independent.
Yep.
However, if the Jubilee UDA MPs decide to ignore historical patterns and boycott the convention, well and good. Actually, their absence will just show us the mammoth numbers Ruto claims he has. But as we look forward to the NDC, we must not forget the most important reason it is happening. Jubilee will be rebranded and put in order so Uhuru and Raila can work together. After all, no one ever seized power with the intention to relinquish it. This is the only way the president will protect his legacy and control parliament politics beyond 2022. And so the caveat is this. If Uhuru and Raila don't work together, they will be impeached. That will be Ruto's first order of business in opposition. However, if also putting it in order means kicking out Udaku MPs from Jubilee or providing them with new marching orders as they continue destabilizing UDA, that is not up to us. We will just have to wait and see.
Indeed, indeed.
Interesting.
Well put.
Interesting. And in the same breath, so tomorrow, the Sagana 3 meeting will take place at the Sagana State Lodge at the foothills of Mount Kenya. The Sagana conventions are significant in shaping and setting the agenda for Mount Kenya. And when this happens, it has a ripple effect across the country. You can take it to the bank that when President Uhuru will roar in the mountain, it will reverberate across the country.
And beyond.
Yes. In fact, you may recall that it was at such a convention that a decision was made for Uhuru to join hands with Ruto in order to form government in 2013. Uhuru first consulted his base. History records that he became president after this. And this is because Kenya is a unitary state, but which is composed of a community of nations. All our national leaders, before elevating to the national platform, are first and foremost leaders of ethnic communities.
It's a fact.
It is. Because of this truth, no one can ascend to national leadership who does not secure the general consensus of the people they come from. It was also at Sagana that the president articulated to Gema the value proposition for supporting the First Amendment. And because of this, not a single Gema county failed to throw its weight behind it. And in fact, most of the country followed suit. Again, we see the importance of consulting and securing your base. However, because of judicial activism initiated through litigation, through one of RUTO's main advisors, David Ndii, Gema lost 20 million per ward, which sums up to an equivalent of 6.4 billion every year. So in light of this history, Sagana 3 undoubtedly will be a major step in shaping the succession politics of country, even as the president charts the path for how Gema will progress. President Uhuru has stated before that the Gema nation must know where they are coming from, where they are currently, and where they are headed in order to successfully finish strong. It is, in fact, the good book that tells us a house divided against itself cannot stand. Gema cannot afford to go into the next government divided. They need to stand in unity and garner a majority of the seats in the next regime. And the future of Gema is tied to that of Jubilee. In the last 4 years, Ruto has been trying to forcefully enter President Uhuru's bedroom through the window. He camped in the mountain, the Mount Kenya region, distributing yellow wheelbarrows, while its own Mudhamaki was busy developing the country. Even as Ruto has camped in the mountain, he cannot even claim to have helped President Uhuru build the 154-kilometer Mau Mau roads, the Karimenu Dam, the Northern Water Collector Tunnel, and numerous other projects completed and underway in Gema. Meanwhile, Ruto's own backyard, they are still waiting for Aror and Kimwarer Dam like a distant dream. But a time has come for President Uhuru, the politician, to speak out. The lion of the mountain is about to roar. And those that have been claiming credit for Uhuru's hard work on top of cars, your goose is cooked. Or if you prefer, your chicken is fried.
Wow. So both of you seem to have touched on Sagana and the upcoming events and NDC. I want to switch gears a little bit. You know, the August 2022 elections are about half a year away. But the campaign period proper has not yet even begun. And yet, the Kenya Kwanza dalliance is already grasping at straws. They have already run out of content that has any discernible substance. Because of this, they are exercising their creative muscles and engaging in selective disinformation. Or maybe we're being polite. Allow us to rephrase that one. They are lying. And the most embarrassing thing about their lying is that they are using a former finance minister in the name of Musalia Mudavadi to lie about Kenya's debt situation. Dear Musalia Mudavadi, now that you have joined the dark side, allow us to send a little light your way. Fact number 1. Kenya's debt ceiling has not been breached. Kenya Kwanza claims that the National Treasury has already breached the debt ceiling of 9 trillion shillings. The lie in this matrix is that they have included the credit that is available for Kenya to borrow from international financial institutions. And they have classified it as debt that Kenya already owes. This is like saying that if my credit worthiness with my bank makes me eligible for a loan of 10 million, but I have only borrowed 2 million, Kenya Kwanza is suggesting that simply because I can borrow 10, then I owe 10. And by the way, considering the scandals associated with the Kenya Kwanza principles, they lack the moral authority to give any sort of lecture about money. Fact 2, debt is good. Allow us to explain. Any economist, anywhere, or investor will tell you that you need money to make money. The money Kenya has been borrowing has been invested in such a way that more investments and investors will be attracted into the country. Our economy will be more productive, and so not only will we be able to repay our debts, but the investments will keep yielding good returns. The problem would be if the money borrowed was going into recurrent expenditure. This is things like salaries and consumables, etc. But since Akina UDA want to pretend that they don't understand, the doubling of tarmac roads is not a salary. The SGR and the Inland Container Depot are not salaries. The Nairobi Expressway is not a consumable. So yes, in one respect, they are right. You cannot eat roads, but that is not what they are for. These investments are critical for the nation to take the next step. Let us not forget that the foundation of any strong economy is first and foremost infrastructure. When President Uhuru came into office, he was clear and categorical that one of his top priorities was to close Kenya's infrastructure gap. Let us illustrate with an example from history. Take the Brits as the example. During the industrial age, Britain's debt to GDP ratio was 200%. Britain's loan portfolio was the largest in Europe. But if Britain had shied away from such bold and daring commitments, she would not have transformed from being an agrarian economy to an industrial titan in less than 100 years. These are loans they took in the 1800s, and yet these are the same people we are competing with today. How are we supposed to catch up? You can be certain that wheelbarrows will not carry us into being a middle income and eventually a first world economy.
True.
Debt did not bankrupt the British, it spurred their growth. That is good. The challenge for the next president will be to ensure that people around him do not steal 2 billion shillings of this debt every single day. Anyways, so we have a 3-part criteria that we use to judge the headlines for you. We ask ourselves these 3 questions. Is the headline topical or speculative? Is it repetitive or groundbreaking? And finally, is it thoughtful or just plain lazy? So I'll reread the headlines for you. The Daily Nation, the indecisive kingmaker. The Standard, Sagana talks turning points for Raila and Ruto. The Star, Uhuru plans to drive Ruto out of Central. And the People Daily, crunch time as parties prepare to crown Raila. So it looks like the Standard, the Star, and the People Daily are all talking about Sagana, which is supposed to be coming soon. The outlier here is the Daily Nation, which decided to take a bit of a left turn and talk about Kalonzo Musyoka. One thing I did like they said is that they see, many see Kalonzo as the next kingmaker, but he likes to see himself as the king in making. That is an interesting trend. But what do you guys think about the rest of the headlines?
So the 3 of them are clearly talking about Sagana, but one thing I will say is that tomorrow the Mudhamaki will roll, and the effects will be felt across the country. Yeah, so Standard, Sagana talks
turning point for Raila and Ruto.
Do we have a winning headline today?
What do you think, Serbia?
Oh, okay. I liked the Standard. I think he's going to let the cat out of the bag. So I think Livondo already did that. So unless there's another cat in the bag.
So you vote for the Standard?
Yes, I love the Standard. I like the Standard.
And Ms. Pope, you said the Standard as well?
The Standard as well.
So I actually prefer the Star, but
democracy.
Out of democratic beliefs, I will yield. The Standard gives us our winning headline today. So you can toss the rest on Ms. Pope. On to the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country, where we also have a 3-part criteria to break them down for you. We ask ourselves these questions. Is the cartoon humorous or dry? Is it satirical or pessimistic? And finally, is it thoughtful, effective, or just plain lazy? So Serbia, why don't you take us through the first cartoon?
Okay, we have a caricature of Raila Odinga cleaning himself with an Azimio detergent.
That looks like Omo.
Yes, saying, I'm not a project. The relevance of this is that Raila has dismissed any claims that he's a state project, noting he has made his way into the political arena since he has run for presidency 5 times. I think people should kindly put some respect on Baba's name. the people calling him a project are just having a case of sour grapes. You know, I actually want to ask, if Uhuru decides to endorse RUTO today, will he then be a state project?
I wonder. I wonder.
Good question.
Okay, so we move on. I'll give you the People Daily before Ms. Pope you conclude with the Standard. The People Daily has Justin Muturi from the DP party, and he's standing on a lamp, and that has some light, and he says, "My fellow Kenyans, finally there is a light." Now, this cartoon to me is slightly hilarious, because on Sunday he came and he told us all these major things were coming, but all I could see was probably the lamp, which is just a little bit of light, not much. So I don't think it was it was a bit clever there, but yeah, what do you think about the Standard? So Ms. Pope, why don't you take us through the Standard?
So the Standard, we have a cartoon representing President Suluhu. She's seated on at the end of the table, and on the other end we have the opposition, and in the middle we have a gift that seems to be on top of a mouse trap.
Yes.
And so I think Suluhu is playing high politics, and she seems to be giving the opposition what they've been asking for, but then at the same time seems like whatever decision they make, they'll be bound politically by it. And so Uhuru, not Uhuru, but Samia, President of Tanzania, people should not forget that she's a key leader, and how she even got there in the first place, playing high politics from Zanzibar straight to State House in the capital. And so, yeah,
I think people are saying that Gado is basically saying that all these presents that she's giving you, beware, she's still a master politician.
So it's a handshake moment.
It's a handshake moment. So out of the 3 cartoons, do you guys think any of them deserve being our winning cartoon?
The Daily Nation is dry.
No.
yeah.
Actually, I don't think there's a winning cartoon.
Yes.
Let's toss
Nothing
all
was
of them.
chimeras.
Toss all the cartoons. So
All right.
on a day where we had no winning cartoon, and we had a winning headline from the Standard, I'd like to remind you, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on your TV screens. Find us on Pang, Free to Air, GoTV, and Start Times. I will leave you with this quote by Deshaun Stokes, where he says, "When you are dealing with frauds and liars, listen to more what they don't say than what they do." Have a lovely evening.